Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining today's Bright Talk on-demand webinar session. My name is Daryl Aldor, Worldwide Senior Sales Manager here at IDrive, and with me today is my Senior Solutions Architect, Joel Pinedo.
Thank you, Daryl. Hello, everyone. Glad to be here.
Thanks, Joel. So today, we're going to walk through how to implement a modern 3-2-1 backup strategy using a QNAP NAS system with hybrid backup sync, also known as HBS3, HybridMount, and iDrive E2 S3 compatible object storage. The goal today is pretty simple. We'll show you how to strengthen your cybersecurity, improve resilience, and reduce storage costs all at the same time. So a little bit about iDrive. iDrive has been in business for over 24 years. Our customer portfolio includes enterprise, education, and government customers. We have a global footprint. We protect over 5 million users and manage more than an exabyte of storage. Our data centers are SOC 2, GDPR, HIPAA compliant, as well as ISO 27001 certified. Security and compliance are foundational to our platform. So iDrive E2 is secure S3 compatible object storage. It's designed for performance, scalability, and cost efficiency. For QNAP users, it provides a highly affordable cloud target for hybrid NAS backups, without the premium pricing often seen with hyperscalers. It's built to scale from small deployments to petabyte level environments. So we operate 13 global regions across the United States, Canada, Europe, and Asia. This allows our customers to choose where their data resides, mainly for data sovereignty and compliance requirements, while also benefiting from low latency and built-in redundancy. This is critical for a hybrid backup and disaster recovery strategies. So let's talk integration. QNAP HBS3 allows you to configure iDrive E2 as an S3 storage target in just minutes. You can back up NAS files, volumes, and configurations directly to the cloud. Backups can be automated and scheduled, encrypted with SSL and TLS, and restored quickly when needed. This gives you a secure offsite copy with full control from within the HBS3 interface. HybridMount extends this even further. It allows you to mount iDrive E2 cloud storage directly into your NAS file system. This means you could expand capacity without buying additional on-prem hardware. You can tier cold or archival data into cost-effective cloud storage while maintaining secure S3 connectivity and high durability. Now let's bring it together with a 3-2-1 rule. 3 copies of data, 2 different types of storage, on-prem and cloud, 1 copy stored offsite. With QNAP and iDrive E2, this becomes simple. Primary NAS data, a local backup copy, and a secure offsite cloud backup. This protects against hardware failure, accidental deletion, as well as cyber attacks. Ransomware resilience is one of the biggest reasons our customers adopt this architecture. By backing up to iDrive E2, you isolate your offsite copy from your on-prem systems. We support bucket versioning, retention policies, object replication and logging, providing immutability, geo-redundancy, and audit visibility. If ransomware strikes your NAS, you can restore from a clean, protected copy. So to summarize, QNAP plus iDrive E2 delivers a cost-effective, secure, and scalable 3-2-1 backup solution. You get hybrid flexibility, ransomware protection, compliance readiness, and global infrastructure, all without the hyperscale price tag. So thanks for joining us today, and I'm happy to take any questions or walk through a live demo of the integration after Howell's presentation. So with that, I'm just going to pass it over to you, Howell.
Thank you very much, Daryl. Very insightful information as always. All right, now before we get started on the demo, so we'll be demonstrating integration with iDrive v2 and the QNAP device. So two different apps. That'll be HBS 3 as well as HybridMount. But we do have to go through a few prerequisites beforehand. So this does require that you've had buckets already created from the iDrive v2 side, as well as access keys to access those buckets. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And Daryl, let me know if you can see my screen.
I could see your buckets.
All right, great. So you can see here, this is just a demo account that I have set up, and you can see a list of different buckets. So I've created two different buckets for this demo. That's the QNAP HM and then QNAP HBS, hybrid sync as well as HybridMount. So this is what this is. I've created two different buckets, and then I've also generated access keys for them. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and go to the QNAP interface. So this is the web dashboard of the QNAP device that we have. And as you can see, this device already has the HBS 3 as well as HybridMount apps already installed. If you don't have them installed, you can just click on the App Center here and install them that way. Because we already have it installed, we don't have to do that. And what we'll do here is we'll go through each individual one and go through the setup instructions. So I'm going to start with HBS 3. So here, what we're doing is we are creating a storage space, and then we're also going to be creating a backup job. So those are the two tabs that we'll be focused on. So in order for you to use iDrive v2 or Amazon S3 compatible object storage, you do need to create the storage space first. So that's done by clicking the storage spaces tab here. You can see I've already created one, but let's go ahead and go through that. So I'm going to hit create. And from here, you'll see a number of different options. What we're going to be clicking is this option here, which is Amazon S3 and S3 compatible object storage. You can name this storage space whatever you like. For the sake of the demo, I'm just going to keep this as is. And then service provider. So here you're clicking S3 compatible. And then for these fields, you're just copying and pasting the information from the access key that was generated in iDrive v2. And once you've copied and pasted that information, you also want to make sure you hit v4. And then you can put the region code. So the region code is also obtained through the generation of the access key. This is dependent on the location of the bucket that was created. And if you perhaps maybe don't know the region code, you can always just click on the bucket. It'll tell you the region code. Or you can also go to our website and go to the developer's guide. And then from there, it'll tell you what the region code is for the specified bucket that you created. So once you've copied and pasted that information, you can hit use a specific bucket. So here's where you're entering the name of the bucket that you want to use. Everything else can remain by the default settings. You can see here that SSL connection's already been pre-selected. So after that, you're just going to hit create. I've already created it, so I'm just going to hit cancel. And so that essentially ties iDrive v2 with this QNAP device. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to create a backup job to go to this iDrive v2 destination. So from here, you're going to hit create and then hit new backup job. When you do that, you're selecting which folders you want to back up from the volume. For this, it's very easy to not hit anything and then give you an error. There is a check box here, as you can see on the left. It's kind of hard to tell. Just make sure you have that selected. So I'm just going to hit this folder that I've already created. So this is a local folder, so not to be mistaken with iDrive E2 buckets. This is just a folder on the QNAP device that I named E2 for the sake of the demo. And I've now gone ahead and selected it. Then you can hit next. And now you're selecting where you want those backups to go to. We've already created that storage space, so we're just going to hit this Amazon S3 and S3 compatible. And here is that pre-configured storage space that we've done. And then you're selecting which bucket you want. And then the multi-part size, we can keep that at default settings. This is just telling the system, how much chunks, the amount of data in chunks it'll upload to the cloud. The more if you increase the size to say 1 gig, 5 gigs, you do risk some errors happening. So we want to just keep that as is, default settings. And then we hit select. So we've gone ahead and done that. And now you're selecting where in the bucket you want these backups to go to. For the sake of simplicity, I'm going to just hit the root folder. So this is the root directory of the bucket. Hit OK. So now you're saying back up this E2 local QNAP folder to this iDrive E2 bucket. And that's what you're doing. And now if you hit next, you're going to set up a schedule for those backups. So if you hit scheduler at the top, and then you hit this plus button here, you have a number of different options. You can do a one-time backup, periodic backup, so in different intervals. You can do daily, weekly, or monthly. So you have all those options available to you. I've already created a weekly backup job. So I'm just going to hit cancel, but you can select whatever fits your needs. And that's all there is to it. Once you selected a schedule, those backups will run at whatever scheduled interval you set them at. And there are a number of different rules. Let me go ahead and just select daily backup here so that we can continue. So there are a number of advanced rules that you can select from. Probably the number one thing that people are going to checkbox is data compression. So if you want to reduce backup sizes and improve the transfer speeds, then you want to make sure you hit this for compression of the backups. But other than that, I mean, there are other options you can select from, but for the sake of the demo, we're just going to keep it simple and keep this as is. And that's it. Once you set all those options, you can just hit next and complete. And that'll essentially just create a schedule for those backups to go to. I've already created the backup job prior, so I'm just going to hit cancel. And that's it. Now the backups they're gonna go ahead and run on whatever interval you set, and they're gonna be going to that iDrive E2 bucket that we configured. It's that simple. After that, you can just monitor and maintain as needed. All right, so now that's HBS 3. So we went ahead and gone through that. And we're gonna move on to HybridMount. So that's this app. We're gonna click open here. And as you can see, this is the HybridMount interface. So HybridMount, instead of connecting to a bucket and setting up a backup schedule, this is not backups. This is just having an iDrive E2 bucket as a sort of share or mount that you can access, remotely. So this is what this is. And with the QNAP device, there are connection license limits. So by default, there are 2 that you can utilize. As you can see, I've already created a mount previously, and that's why you can see that says used 1. We've used 1 of the licenses. You can always just purchase more licenses if you need it. And for the sake of this demo here, we're going to just go ahead and click on this, create remote mount. So these are the first steps you want to take to basically connect that iDrive E2 bucket to this QNAP device. And then we're making sure to select this option, File Cloud Gateway. And you're going to go ahead and select create. And here we're selecting which cloud service. So you would think it's Amazon S3, but it's actually not. If you scroll down, there is an option for S3 compatible. So that is what we are. We're going to make sure we click that option. And then as previously in HBS3, we're just copying and pasting all this information from the access key that was generated. So that's the access key, secret key, the URL, making sure to change this to v4, and then putting in the region code. Here, it did not pre-select SSL, but we want to make sure we do that. So just make sure you hit SSL. And then here you're specifying the bucket name, as well as same thing, part size. We're just going to keep this at the default settings. You can name this connection, whatever you want. So that's up to you. We're just going to keep it as is. The rest of the information, we can keep that the default settings. And that's all there is to it. Because I can't put the secret key in plain text, we can't continue with the additional step here, but it's very simple. Once you copy and paste that information and you hit next, it's going to prompt you to create a cache space. So just temporary space on your device for the objects, for faster transfer speeds and access to those objects. So once you create a cache space, that can be whatever you want. You can say 100 gig, 200 gig. It's up to you. Then you just hit create, and that essentially creates a mount that you can access remotely on your system. And that is all remotely with that iDrive v2 bucket. So because I've already created it, I'm just going to hit the close button here. But that is the remote mount. It's been generated. As you can see, it's labeled S3 compatible, and the bucket is QNAP HM. So here on this system, I'm going to open up the File Explorer, and I'm going to navigate to the QNAP device. And these are the shares for the QNAP device. As you can see, this is the hybrid mount that we configured, S3 compatible, QNAP HM. And now I'm accessing all the objects within that share. As you can see, there's an ISO file in here that we tested. But that's all there is to it. You can now just drag and drop any data you want onto this mount, and it's all going to that iDrive v2 bucket that you can access. All right, well, it's that simple. That's all there is to it. Very straightforward. And that concludes this portion of the demo. So we went through HBS3 as well as HybridMount on a QNAP device and how to integrate it with iDrive v2 for data resilience and security.
Thank you, Joel. Seems simple enough. For those of you who'd like to schedule a personal demo, again, feel free to reach out to us at any time, and we're happy to join you on a personal web demo. And that concludes our webinar for today. I'm Daryl Aldor, Worldwide Senior Sales Manager here at iDrive, and this is Joel Pinedo. Thank you very much, and have a great day.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Daryl.